So we have started the recording. Good morning, everybody. We're going to go through the next section of, now that I've got my website, what do I do with it? How can I customize it? Are there other things I can think about? And I'm not going to try to get so deep that everybody's going to get thoroughly lost, but I'm going to try to go a little deeper so that we can start seeing it can be completely customizable if you want to spend the time on it. So the first thing I'm going to do is share my screen. I think that's the screen I want. Yeah, and then I shrink this down, move it out of the way. Boy, you know, that mouse worked great until I got Zoom going. Shrink, come on, that, and go to here. So we are back to Moxie. And I'm logged in as Brenda because we're going to keep playing with her website. One tip I want to say out to everybody is once I get into Moxie, I kind of save it on here so I don't have to go back into every time. I've got one place to click and get into Moxie, and it saves my credentials. So if you cannot figure out how to get that, I will send you the link that you can save right up in there, and then you can put your credentials in once and not have to go through Better KS every time.
I'd love that.
Okay, so just send me an email if you'd want that. But right now I'm in Moxie. I am plugged in as Suzanne or Brenda, and I'm going to go to Brenda's website. Also keep in mind, the chat is kind of hit and miss with this large screen presentation. So I'll try to keep an eye on it, but if you have a question, please unmute and ask. So once you kind of have your website set up and you're starting to feel a little bit more comfortable, it's not real easy going down here on the side to navigate. I mean, it's okay. It's not necessarily bad, but it's a lot easier to start looking at things I want to do over here on the side menu. And most of what we need to do is right at the top. So the layout and the colors, that's kind of where we go in and we can change your home screen. Remember, we did this last time, which one you want. We can look at your header. And you can do things in here to change your header style if you want. I'm going to say most of you probably don't want to do it, but that's where it would be. On the footer, you can have your default footer, or you can use this custom footer that they've built for you just by clicking that button and it will show up. But again, most of that you're not going to do much of because it's not bad up front. When it says home here, it's taking you back to that very first screen. And I also would go right down here first most of the time and look at all pages. The reason we go into all pages is that's going to show you the pages that are already built on your site that may or may not be turned on. And it also shows you how to arrange your navigation. Let me turn off a couple of these up here. So remember right up front, what I said to everyone is this visit site button is always going to be one of your best friends because you want to see what things really look like. It's hard to tell from here until you get used to it, what your site will look like. So I'm going to click on visit site and it opens up a new tab. This is the tab with all my site pages. So let's go back to our page and we see home, we see properties, and then when you hover over properties, a submenu pulls up. So let's go back to our all pages page for a moment. we have home, then we have properties. And then notice that that property search and other ones is indented a little bit. That's because on this page with the submenus, that's what shows up when it's indented. Now, how do you change that? We'll get to that in a moment. But let's start with what the default is, because all of this is already in here for you. We don't have to change anything. The first thing we see is that properties is on and property search is on. And then we see these other search pages they've built for you that aren't turned on yet. You can tell because it says hidden. If you didn't want to show the my active listings, you could hide it. And if you hide it and it says hidden, the one thing you have to remember when dealing with this page is to go down to the very bottom and publish it. If you do not publish it, you have not saved it and nothing will change on your live site. So you can see that my active listings is now hidden. If I go back over to my page I want to view and I refresh it, I only have one selection in there now. Okay. Now the question you may immediately ask is, well, why aren't all the other ones showing up? And the reason is they're not turned on. They don't show. They say hidden. And some of them, I got to be honest, may not work depending on the MLS rules. So I believe that by MLS rules, you can show your own sold listings. So we're going to experiment a little bit and we're going to turn some stuff on Brenda, and then we're going to go back and look. So we're going to click show my sold listings. See how they all say hidden? And please use the microphone. Right below it says edit, view, and show. You click on show. I know it's hard on small screens.
No, it just everything I selected it or it removed.
I'm sorry. We'll get them back. I promise. We'll work on that in a minute. And I'm going to turn on several of these, my office listings, my company's active listings, and I'm going to even click on my company's sold listings to show, to see what happens when we look at it on the live site. So now we have everything showing except featured properties, which I don't think featured is a whole lot different than my company's listings. And I'm going to save this. And then I'm going to come back over to Brenda and refresh. And while that's refreshing, I'm going to look at this chat and it says, I'm looking at my sold listing and it has 12 pages. But some of the first ones it shows are from years ago. Yep, that's probably true. I don't know yet, Sandra, but we'll look at it in a minute, okay? So after doing that, you can see that all these other ones now show up because I turned them on. And I'm going to click on Brenda's sold listings. Well, knowing how many listings Brenda sold and how many pages, we got from Sandra, that could be a whole lot more as well. So you can start lining them up here for them to see everything if they want. And there are 15 pages. Oh my, Sandra, you've sold almost as many houses as Brenda, or as far back as Brenda in this program. So you can show your solds. You can look at my office listings. And there are, and these are all pending. Not surprising in today's market.
How do you get them all? Okay, if it's sold listing.
Well, I'm not in sold listings anymore. I went to office listings. Now I'm in my company's active listings. And here are for the entire company rather than just the office. And as Sandra points out, it's from the highest sales price down. Well, that's the way a lot of people order them, but I'm gonna guess if it's like a good one, I think that you can also order them different ways, but we'll check in a minute. In my company sold listings. I don't need to look at that again because I think you guys get the idea. But let's say that after turning these all on, you could always hide some again, but maybe you want your sold listings, like my office listings, to be above your sold listings. See how I hover over it, click it, and then I can move that around? What I'm doing is reordering the way the menu appears. And I'm doing it within this. See how they're all indented? Well, I'm doing it within the property search. What would happen, and I only throw this out there, if inside buying and selling, I didn't want financial characters, I wanted that to appear on my main menu. Well, the difference is I would pick it up, click on it, and drag it over to the left. And now see how it's in line with the rest of the menu items?
Mm,
That makes it a main menu item rather than a sub menu item. I'm going to change one more thing. I'm going to take the contact me, because for Greg, web designer that I used to be, I always want the contact me button on the extreme right of my menu, the last item. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to move it out here. And now I'm going to publish it. So when I go back to my the page that we had for Brenda, I haven't refreshed this yet. So we don't see the financial calculator up here or the contact me on the extreme right. But when I refresh it, you'll now see contact me is on the outside. Financial calculators is not inside buying and selling anymore, and so on.
that's what I wasn't doing.
Does everybody see how I was able to manipulate and maneuver that uppermost menu?
Yes, awesome.
Any questions on that? Now, one question that may come up someday, I doubt it, but you never know. What if you want property search, but then when they hover over property search, a more sub-menu comes up? You could actually take an item and move it over another notch. So then you have property search, you hover over it, it opens up all these, and then it has another sub-property. I'm not going to suggest you guys do that, but if you wanted to, you could. Here's the reason I don't suggest doing it. More and more, when you look at websites, they're getting more simplistic. They don't have extensive menus that send you all over the place. They have some simple menus where they think people will want to go, and they kind of keep it, get there fast. Don't be searching all over the place. Okay, now that we've talked about menus, I want to talk about a few more pages in here. I'm going to move Brenda's financial calculator back in here. I'm going to leave the contact me there, and I'm going to publish so I get my changes back in. And we want to look at how to edit, view, and so on these pages, because we know how to show them, we know how to hide them, we know how to put them in our menus. So let's say, as Sandra said, my sold listings is too long for her. I will tell you that this is a highly stylized page, which there are only a few choices to do in this item. But you could go in and click edit, and it's going to bring up the editor and show you what you can change. My sold listings, you can choose my active listings, my sold, it's already picked for you. You can include your info on this if you want to, but really there's no other choices I can do on this page. and I can publish. I can't rearrange price range. I can't say how many pages it goes back. Are your potential clients going to go and look at all 15 pages of your sold listings? Absolutely not. It might impress some of your clients if they see that you have 15 pages. And if you're a new agent and you only have one page, you may want to turn that off for your site. That's a decision that each person would make on their own. Since I didn't make any changes to that page, I can go back. I don't have to publish it. Let's go to buying and selling. Let's not go there. Let's go look at the financial calculators. Again, I can't edit this one. It's highly stylized, but I can view it. So I want to see if I want it on in mine or not. So I'm going to click on view. Well, it's got a basic loan calculator, interest savings calculation, amortization schedule,
That's nice.
where you can plug in the parameters. And that's it for financial calculators. I can't add anything else to it. Can't really edit it. It's done. Now, some of you are going to say, well, wait a minute, I want to edit a whole lot of stuff. I promise you we're going to get to that in a minute. Neighborhood news, I do want to show you. So we've talked about this in Engage a couple of times, what the neighborhood news is and how it works. So the neighborhood news is a way for them to sign up for it rather than having you generate it for them. When they sign up for it, then you also get an email that says, hey, somebody was on your site and signed up for the neighborhood news. They can't sign up for it without an email. It gives them a way to look at it so they know what they're going to get. But down at the bottom, do you want more? Contact Brenda. Reach out for a breakdown for what this means. Send a message. Just because I log in and look at it doesn't mean I get it every month. I just get to look at it. It does let me edit the zip code. So I could put in a different zip code if I wanted to. And if they would rather log in every month rather than give you a 67212. And if I want to save for future monthly reports, well, then they're going to have to get an email address to get it. Part of the reason you're seeing it this way is because I'm already signed in as Brenda and I'm just seeing how it looks. But this is what the monthly report would look like. And obviously branded for you, not for me, not for Brenda. I'm going to get out of that for a minute. Contact me. There are some editable fields, and I clicked on edit under contact me. But basically it's, I want a contact me page, what the page title is, and do I want to put a message in there? Please let me know. I'll get back to you shortly, whatever you want to say. If you want to see what the contact me page looks like, then we would scroll down to the bottom, contact me, view. Get started with me today. This populates with your cell phone number. So if they're on their mobile, they can one click in and call you. If they, and that's why I like it right up here at the top. So it goes right here to one click call. But they can also send their email address and send you a message.
But how did you get to that? Contact me.
On your navigation page, your contact me, you can view any page that's here. I'm skipping over testimonials intentionally. There is a widget that you can install on your website that will pull your testimonial tree testimonials over automatically and update whenever new ones put in there. This testimonial page that they built for you requires you to hand type in every testimony. We don't want to hand type in anything. We like widgets that do it all for us. So I promise In a later class, I will do that to show you how to do it because I don't want to overwhelm you too much bouncing back and forth between too many. If you want to know and try it on your own, if you log into Testimonial Tree, which you can do right from Moxie, on the side, there is build widgets and widgets. And if you want to play with that and figure it out, help yourself. If you don't want to, I will show you how to do that on a later date. So what we've kind of covered so far is what's already in there for you, how to move the menu around, and how to show or hide pages based on whether you want that page there or not. Are there any questions on that so far? Either I'm a really good teacher or you guys are completely lost and don't know what's going on.
What are the little check marks for on the left
On the left, where? I don't.
of each one? I mean, those little boxes.
You know, there are some bulk actions you can do, which you could check on them all. I don't suggest to do them, but you can
Okay.
basically hide every page, everything you have, or show everything you have. I think you're much better off going page by page rather than worrying about the check boxes.
Okay.
I would also point out for you, like if you make a mistake and suddenly all your pages disappear, don't publish. Leave, log back in, start all over again. I'm going to go ahead and publish because I'm happy with this. Just so I've saved any work I've done. So now I want to take you into, what if I want to create a brand new custom page? And I want to go there first because it's a little easier to do that than some other actions. So when you're dealing with pages, keep in mind that not only are they actual pages, but they're anything that could appear in the menu. It's what you're really dealing with. So add new. What are my choices? I can add a custom page. When I click on the down arrow, I can click on a custom search. I can add a menu item, like a heading. I can add a menu link. I can put in a profile page, a properties page, or a testimonial page. I don't want to go through custom searches right now because that can be a little bit more daunting. And some of them are, if you click on it and look at it and say, oh, that looks easy, I'm going to try it, please do. But let's not worry about that now. Let's say there is not a page in here that exists that you would like to have here. So we're going to start from a custom page. And I'm going to submit. And it's going to open up a page editor. And you have to name the page. Now, keep in mind that when you name a page, it is also going to be part of your URL web link that people would have. Not that they do that much, because you click on, you know, you're not going to advertise this page a lot, but partially because, but you don't want it to be so long that in the menu, it just stretches out across the page. Try to keep it fairly short. So I could go about Wichita. Let's just use that as a start. And I go, okay. Now, again, like anything else, until you publish it, you haven't saved it. There was also, I'm looking for something here. I don't see it yet. Okay. And notice that the permalink for this page, remember that until you put your custom URL in, you are, you know, Brendan Offert, CC Rogers, whatever, Alliance Sites, bhdrealestate.com, and then the name that I told you up there about Wichita. You'll also notice that there's a dash in there. The reason there's a dash in there is in web parlance, you can't have a blank space up here. Servers don't know what to do with blank spaces. So they automatically put a dash in there for you. And then they have these relatively easy, what they call WYSIWYG editors. This has various things that go across from, I can't even read that. What's it, file? So I can,
Yes,
on file, I can print it. On edit, I can undo, redo, cut, copy, paste. I can view the source code. I can insert just about anything you guys could want to insert, from videos down to tables and so on.
I
Yes.
got my title in for my extra site page, but how do you get to the rest of the options?
You want to add new page.
I did already, and I named it.
Well,
Now it will give me anything else.
well, is it showing up in the menu?
Yeah,
Then click on edit next to it in the menu.
in the menu.
Okay, we'll look at it in a minute. Let's keep following this. So you can also add media here if you want to. What kind of media do you want to add? Note, up to 10 megabytes you can upload. But there's also a media library. Now, I don't know if there's much items in there because each person's media library is your own upload. They don't have a lot of stuff in here already until you upload it for your site. So don't be shocked by that. Just know if you want to put a picture in, you got to add it.
I have a question.
Yes.
You know, in the greenhouse, the videos in there, is there a way to move one of those over to here?
Yes, you would have to save it onto your computer and then upload it to here.
Okay,
Format. Do you want it bold, italicized, underlined, super strike, and so on? You've got alignment buttons down there too. Tools is back to source code, and you can insert table. Now, I'm going to tell you almost everything that I just went through. If you're not used to working with, just kind of don't get too excited about it yet. There are things you can do. And so I'm just going to say about Wichita, and I'm going to go and type in here. Want to know more about Wichita, Kansas. Click here. Now, obviously, this is a very short, small page. It doesn't do much. I would want to write a little bit more. I might go to Wikipedia and get some stats out. I might pull up some stuff about South Central Kansas that would have some items in here. But then for me to want to find out more about Wichita, Kansas, and the click here, I want to send people from this page to a good page about Wichita, Kansas. So I'm going to go up to a new tab. We don't care about this right now. And I'm going to Google. And I'm going to go Wichita, Kansas. Now you can do South Central Kansas, whatever you want to do. But let's just start there. I could connect them to Wikipedia, but I don't really want to do that. I want something more fun, like Visit Wichita. I click on Visit Wichita, and you'll see it brings up this nice page, and it's got a URL link right here. I highlight it, I copy it, I come back to the page that I'm building, and I highlight the click here, which is where I want them to click on. Oops. My mouse is acting funny, sorry. So let me get rid of this and highlight the click here. Ah, damn it. I hate this mouse sometimes. Okay, so I've got that highlighted, and I click on this chain link. That is insert or edit a link. When I click on it, it says paste your URL in here, or I could even do a search. I don't want to do a search. I want to find the page. So I put in there what I want it to do, and then I save it. Now, if I want to get really fancy, I can say, well, what options do I want to do? And the only reason I'm bringing this up right now is because if you don't, it will close your website and open up the Open Wichita on that page. Or you can say open link in a new tab. That way your site stays open and it opens it up. And I'm going to update that. And now I'm done. We have 2 questions. Why don't you might do that for? Oh, did you just cuss? No, Joel, I didn't cuss. The problem is, I can give you a whole bunch of links and things that I think are a good idea. What I cannot do is build a site for you. You have to build your own site. So I can't build an entire site and say here. Now, the fact is, I can do that, but I'm going to tell you it is so difficult to upload a completely built site that I create for you. Most of you are going to go, nah, it's easier to build it myself than log in and do it all. So that's why, Joel. I would prefer it the other way. But at any rate, I'm also throwing out ideas because you guys may not want the site exactly the way I want the site. You may have things that you want in there. You may have, and I'm looking at Cece. She used to be such a great supporter of the Red Cross and the things she worked there. She may want to do a whole page on the Red Cross where everybody else may not. So you have to have your own, and Joel, you're a big supporter of the Humane Society. You have to know how to be able to at least customize it enough to make your page work. So yes.
What about a page that has all your favorite links on it? Or would you make each one separate?
I'd say it completely depends on what you want to do. For me, a page with all the links probably is going to be pretty normal. I would like to point out that if you have a single page that says about Wichita, that has verbiage in there about Wichita and a couple of links out, search engines think that you really know about Wichita and tend to raise you in the rankings than if you have a page with 27 links on it that go to a dozen different places. So
Okay.
some of what I'm doing is trying to raise you in the search rankings. But
Great.
yes.
I just said great.
Okay. But I will also say that you're competing against a lot of people selling Wichita real estate. You've got to consider that while it's nice to be found in the search rankings, it's going to be hard to just compete for it. Wichita, Kansas homes for sale compared to Realtor.com and Zillow and Coldwell Banker and Remax and all the national brands, then even getting down to the weeds. We want to make sure that there's more stuff about you as an agent so that when your clients are searching for you 5 years after you sold them a home, they find you. And that's the important part. Okay, does anybody have any questions about the page editor I just showed you? I'm going to get into this SEO stuff a little bit later. If you want to play with it, you can. Just briefly, so you'll know. This SEO thing is a free service provided by Moxie that reads your web page and says you did or did not do enough stuff on your page to validate what you've called it. So if I click on readability, it says, well, your readability is all right, but you don't have enough transition words. But your readability score is great, and your passive voice is fine, and all those things you did well on. So throw in a passive transition word here or there. The focus key phrase, again, I'm just kind of sort of demoing it, is, well, you got 5 problems. Well, no kidding, I wrote a sentence of about 10 words. And it's kind of pointing out the keyword phrase isn't long enough, your links aren't good enough, your text links are short, and all of those things. So if you want to get deep in the weeds, this will tell you if search engines are going to like your page or not. That's what all that's about. But now that I've shown you, and I want to preview this page just so you'll know what it looks like. There's my page. Not much to look at, is it? And then
I
I can
need
cl-
some pictures or something.
and then I can
Okay.
click here. Now I'm going to take you a level up, and it will confuse you a little bit, but try to stay with me. If you think this page is too simple and you would like something more templated that you can fill in boxes on to look a little fancier, there's a button right here that says Builder. I'm going to click on it. And it's actually going to take me out of this portion and take me into an entirely different. And it says it's your first time. Would you like to take a tour? I'm going to say no, because I know what I'm looking for. You guys should take the tour. Oh, come on. Publish layout, save template. Where are all my little tools? Maybe I should have taken the tour. Okay, preview, revisioning, responsive, histories, layout, global settings. Yep, we're going to start all over. Let's not try to edit that page for a moment. I'm going to say done, and I'm going to discard. I'm going to say okay. And I'm going to go back, because once you're done, it takes you to that page to show you what it looks like. And I'm going to go back to my admin home. There's madness to my method, so trust me. I'm going to go add a new page. Instead of looking at all the pages, I can add a new page. I want it to be a custom page, and I'm going to submit. And then it's going to bring up the new page, but instead of starting with this editor, I'm going to go right into the builder. That's what I was looking for. See this table over here? It can be on a couple of different places on your page. I'm going to put it over here because I like it over here. And so I've got my page here and I've got all my modules. These modules are relatively complex if you don't know what you're doing. But there's something in here that I really like, and that is their templates. I can click on templates, and these bring up a whole lot of pre-built pages that have different looks and different layouts that you can play with. And so while they're all made up of those beginning modules that you and I looked at over here, and modules and widgets and all the other things, the fact is, if you can scroll down here and say, you know what, I really want to start with a page that looks like, oh, I don't know, this one or this one. And so I click on it, and it's going to apply that template over here, which has a background picture, a home search, about Brenda, featured properties, and everything else in it. And now I can go through this page and say, and there's still my header, and say, I want to change this picture. Well, to do that, I click on the picture. I'm not going to get real deep in this other than to show you it can be done. And I click on my row settings. I'm sorry, I clicked on the wrong one. And go over here and start looking at my pictures and changing it. I can go down here and change the type in this by clicking on it, and so on. And so if you want to experiment and get out there a little bit and say, I don't want the bare basic website, you could start here with a page and create pages. Now I have to check for something that just got turned on yesterday. MoxieWorks templates. Yep. So inside templates, you're also going to find brand templates. And there are 3 of them. just added yesterday. There will be more. You can't see them yet, and they're going to fix that. I mean, like they turned them on for me and I got it first. Buying a home with BHGRE. So I want to apply that template. I'm going to replace the existing. I push OK. And it's got buying a home and a lot of things about Better Homes and Gardens, starting your home search, the purchase, and so on. So eventually, there are going to be more pages in here that you can add to your website. If I wanted to add this page just the way it sits, then all I have to do is save it and publish it as buying a home. It'll go into my menu. I can turn it on and show it my menu and everybody can see it. So we have another question. It appears Moxie is using WordPress. You are, yeah, I know I'm not doing a bang up site. I'm trying to keep it very simple. And yes, they are using WordPress because I'm trying to keep it simple. But let me tell you, there are a few caveats to this. This is called a stripped down version of WordPress. In that, you can't add any plugins. Moxie has to add plugins. If it's not already existing in there, it's a little harder for you to add it. You're correct, Joel. I could give a whole class on WordPress. I'm just trying to show people the very basic to use what's already there. The other thing I can tell you is that you can add JavaScript, you can add media, you can upload a bunch of stuff. So not disagreeing with you, but it is a stripped down templated style of WordPress. And so it's a little more cumbersome trying to add the custom stuff. Yes, Sherry.
In this custom template, as you scroll down, it had an option to find an agent. If they're on my site, I don't want them to find any other agent. Can that section be deleted?
It could, but
is that what sends it to me?
I believe that this is the template, like your contact me, and it only goes to you. You could play with it on your site and see.
Can you re-type that header?
Yes.
Is contact.
Click on find
a better
agent.
Contact the better agent or whatever you want. You can change that header. Good.
As you see, I click on it, and over here's the font, the type. I can type in call Sherry today, and then it's got, you know, that kind of stuff in there. Joel is right. WordPress and Priscilla is also darn near an expert. Let me get back into websites. There's a lot you can do with WordPress. It's a very easy and complex system, flexible system at the same time. It's a lot better than coding with HTML, trust me. But there are some limitations to what you can do in this WordPress site compared to a just straight out WordPress site. So what I'm going to encourage you to do is, number one, you can turn it on, you have an active site and it works, it's great. Let's mess with your customization of your menu bar a little bit. And if you want to start playing with some custom pages, go ahead and do it. I'm not trying to give you everything there is about doing custom pages yet. I'm just trying to give you the overview of what's already there and what you can do to get the basics done. I want to go into just one or two other things and then I'll be done. Let's go back to add a new page. So let's say that you have a page that you want this to link to. Instead of driving them to a page first, you want something in the menu that just says, this will link to the new page. Sherry would want it for her commercial properties. Cece might want it for the Red Cross. Joel for the Humane Society. I like those. So if you come in here and say, I want a menu link item, you're going to click on it. And I want to submit it. Well, what do you want it to call? And this is what's going to appear in the menu. And I'm going to put Red Cross, this time for Cece. And then I have to put the link URL in. Well, I got to go find the link URL. Red Cross. And I'm just going to use their donation site. I could find their local site probably and all kinds of things. But let's just click on that. Allow, you can know my location, but see, it's got all this other gobbledygook up there. I don't want that gobbledygook. That comes from an ad. But I know that redcross.org is where I want to go. So I'm just going to type that in now, get rid of everything. If I can get my mouse to help. Redcross.org. And see, that gets rid of all that. Oh, it's only got one D. Sorry. My hands start to shake or trembling now, and that's the problem. And I see that goes where I want. And I'm going to copy that. I'm going to come back into my site pages, and I'm going to put it in right here. And see, it already pops up with, open this link in a new browser window. It's a checkbox right underneath. I can preview it if I want. You'll also see that it's got instructions down here. Be sure to put the HTTP in the front like this, and I can save it. Now, when I go back to all of my pages, and you're going to find when you add a new page, it shows up at the bottom, Red Cross. It's already showing, but I want it to be up above contact. So I'm going to pick it up, drag it up, and I'm going to publish it. I want to view my site now that I publish it. Back to the Visit Site button. And I'm going to see the red crosses now up there. And when I click on it, it opens up a new tab. So they still have my site up, and then go to the Red Cross. Now, again, that's pretty basic stuff, but I wanted to show you folks how you can add a page that's already built that doesn't exist, moving your pages around, turning pages on and off, adding a link. We've kind of covered that today. Does anyone have any questions about it? Then the next thing I'd like to know for next Tuesday's class, would you rather come back and answer questions about building some of this stuff we're building? Or would you like to talk about some other features in the website? And if so, what features are you looking for? Do you want to know how to add video? Do you want to know how to add pictures? Do you want to know, what do you guys think would be the next logical progression for you? And I'm going to quit sharing my screen so I can see the chat when things pop up.
I like the idea of adding videos and murals and
Videos and what?
pictures and
Photos?
video.
Okay.
Yes, I noticed on Brenda's header, her picture is moved down a little bit or quite a bit, because mine, the picture shows up right on the left side of the picture and all the writing, but I liked it where hers was down a little ways.
I don't know which of the opening page templates you have chosen, because that will move the picture around.
Oh, okay, I'll go back and look at that. All right,
There is one that's up by the search, and there's one that's down some.
okay. Thank you.
So on Tuesday, then I think I'll first, I love Joel a lot, and I will ask him what I can do to help him out some. I agree, there's a lot on WordPress you can do more, but I'm trying to dummy it down a little bit, because some of this, if you've never done it before, is really tough. I do want to talk about videos and photos a little bit because there's loading time considerations, there's cropping considerations, there's some, and there is some copyright stuff that I don't want you guys to get in trouble on. So we will talk about that on Tuesday then, so you can have some things to work on. If you see any photos on the company site, which is betterks.com, if you see any photos at all you like, ask me for them. I do have rights to use those, and I'll share them with you. So
Awesome.
that's one way you can go to start with. Okay, well then I'm going to stop the recording unless there's any more questions.